Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Well, the race for the Liberal leadership, it is heating up. Chrystia Freeland confirmed her candidacy in a statement just this morning. And former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney, he actually held a press conference announcing his bid in Edmonton yesterday. So now we get to start to take a look at candidates and who do we think is going to come out on top, at least with the candidates that are out so far.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's interesting. I do think personally, I'm not saying, I haven't decided what I feel about either candidate, but I think that the public will go towards Mark Carney. And here's why. I think the fact that he is kind of an unknown to most people is actually working to his advantage. Chrystia is heavily associated with Justin Trudeau. Like,
even
let's
the
just
way
face
that
it.
she left Justin?
Even though that she did that bold move, and I think it was very intentional now, we know in retrospect, to distance herself, I still think that people assume the stink on him may have gone on to her. So I personally think, even though I watched that press conference and it was with Mark Carney, and it was really dull, I gotta be honest. And I say that surprisingly because
you didn't like all the hockey analogies?
Oh my God. But he was so engaging when he was on John Oliver, The Daily Show. So we know he has that capacity. John Stewart, sorry. John Stewart. What did I say?
Yeah, John Oliver.
You know,
the other guy. It's the other guy. It's the other guy.
What do you guys think?
You want him to have a little bit more charisma is what you're saying.
I do. Show that charisma.
See, I'm a proud Canadian, and I want the best person for the job. And I'm hoping that in 2025, we are entering a new era in Canadian politics where we can finally have a woman leader of the Liberal Party. And fingers crossed, possibly the Prime Minister. And I think Chrystia Freeland is the best and most qualified candidate, because I think people need, you're associating her with Justin, but I think people need to remember and need to hear her resume. And then I want you guys to think about this. She has been the Minister of Finance, Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of International Affairs, and Deputy Prime Minister. She also has experience negotiating with the deal with Canada, US, and Mexico. That's very important in the future.
Right. Yeah.
She also has a lot of experience with the diplomatic relations with Ukraine, Russia, and China. Also very important going forward in the future. And good for Mark Carney, whether he has a personality or not. I want the person, person with the most hands-on experience to lead our country. And for me, all I'm seeing right now in the landscape is Chrystia Freeland is the only person who makes sense to me.
Is there a world where we could have a hybrid of the two run? Is there like an AI avatar we could create? Because I'm going to tell you why.
Like Dog Man?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's not going to happen. But here's the problem. They both have phenomenal resumes. And so when we talk about resumes, obviously Chrystia is extremely, extremely experienced with the political experience. Mark Carney is running as an outsider, if you believe what he says. He's the former governor of the Bank of Canada. He's the former governor of the Bank of England. He guided them through Brexit. So he has real-world experience. She has heavy governmental experience. If they came together and then they had this charismatic baby, because I'll tell you why. We are ignoring the fact that we don't just need to look at the next leader of Canada. We need to look at the next leader who's going up against Trump. And Trump, guys, get ready. It's the real-life edition of The Apprentice. And you know what he's doing? It is flash with no substance. And so, unfortunately, we are in a position where politics is theater. So these are very smart people.
Isn't this a good situation to be in, though? This is a wonderful situation.
Of riches.
I mean, we have such qualified people that are going up for this job. And if we think back to the American election, Kamala Harris was incredible, but she was it was a coronation. Like, her party and the voters did not vote her to be the leader. Like, she was appointed to that role of being the leader of the Democratic Party. For the leader of the Liberal Party, it's an embarrassment of riches. Like, we've got some great people who are going, some unknown, and even Chrystia Freeland. They did an abacus poll, and only half of the country could put a name to her face. So they're both sort of coming out, and Mark Carney was 3 out of 4.
I wonder how many people know.
had no idea who it was.
I was about to say, how many, if they don't know Chrystia, do they know Mark Carney?
I still think that's exciting. That's like, prove yourself to me then. Prove yourself to the country. What are you guys going to do?
And here's the other piece that we're talking about. Like, as much as, again, I agree with you, I would love to see a female leader. The fact that we've never had, other than Kim Campbell, which was temporary and, you know, not
She was not elected.
It's so sad that we, as the country that we want to be, has never had a female leader. Like, it's crazy to think about that. And yet, I think there is still a lot of embedded sexism and maybe some just reality of, like, Donald Trump is sexist. So whoever is going up against him has to have the best chance to fight with him. And that may be a woman, but I don't know.
What does Canada? This is actually putting us to the test.
It is.
What do we want?
What do we want against Trump?
That's right.
Right?
I know, really spicy, good stuff. All right, so let's move on to something different now. Should wedding vows be private? The New York Times is reporting that some couples are choosing not to read them aloud during the ceremony, and instead, the bride and groom are reading each other's vows silently while the guests watch. So do you like this idea, or is this super awkward? Jess?
You like it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting.
When you and Simon get married on the show, are we gonna be able to hear the vows?
Oh my God, you better be able to. I generally like when people get married in different ways, in non-conventional ways. I think it's wonderful. But this one kind of confuses me because you're keeping sort of what I would see as the biggest part of the wedding private.
Interesting.
So why not just go all private? If your gut's saying, I don't want to share these vows with the people I love the most, but I want to have a party after, there's just a disconnect.
See, and I'm on the other side of things. Listen, I've been to a lot of really great weddings, and most times when you hear back from people who attended the wedding, you know what they talk about? They never talk about the vows. They're like, the food was good, the DJ was terrible.
I'm always talking about the vows, how I cried. I cried at every single wedding.
Here's me too. I pay attention, but in general, I think most people are there for the party.
Okay.
And really, the day is about these two people bringing their lives together as one. I don't know how they put it. I don't know. I've never done it. So I love the idea of it being really intimate and between the two of them. I've also seen some brides and grooms almost nervous to the point where they're going to throw up because they don't want to be in front of all of these people. It's very intimidating, even though they do want to get married. So I love it being private and quiet and calm, and the two of you making that promise to each other, and then we'll party.
Okay.
There's a detail in this that I think we're missing, which is that they actually did do their vows in front of everyone. They just did them silently. So get this.
What?
So they had written out their vows to each other, and then they put them into an envelope, and then they passed them to one another.
Okay, now
while
that's
the
dumb.
No, wait a minute. We weren't there, guys.
That's dumb.
We weren't there. And apparently people in the audience said it was silent while they read, and they watched the faces of the people. And they said it was, being an audience member, it was extremely powerful. And the people were tearing up. So I'm just putting that detail
here's
in
the
there.
thing. I actually, first of all, any way that you want to do your wedding is up to you, okay?
Yeah.
But if you're going to do it a way, we get to judge it. That's what we're actually meant to do here on the show. So here's the thing. I'm going to go back to something, and I can't believe I'll say this, but if you're going to go down a more traditional route, which is in a church, for example, or in front of people, the idea of doing in front of a community is actually central to the tradition of the wedding. And why? Because you're not just making a vow to each other. This is for the entire community to witness this union together. Not that they get a say.
1800.
No. What I'm saying is not that they get a say, but I would like to know as a community member, what are we supporting? And the way that we get to know what we're supporting is when we hear that you are going to make this declaration and you make this declaration. Why is there a part in the wedding when you say, till death? No. But I'm not giving that money unless I really believe in this union. That's why there's a part.
50% of marriages end in divorce. Your money has gone to dead ends.
But why do they have that part in the wedding where it says, speak now or forever hold your peace? The community gets a say.
I've never been to a wedding. Only in the movies they do that.
That's right.
And you know what's going to happen? Someone's grandma in the back or aunt's going to go, I can't hear. You hear them? I can't hear what they're saying. Speak up. We can't hear you. That's not going to go over well. People are not going to be down.
I say you either make it all private or make it all public.
I actually agree. All private or all public. Yeah.
When we come back, everybody.
Do you think these guys can make Hollywood bigger, better, and stronger than ever before? So Donald Trump has named John Voight, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone as special ambassadors. Trump says their goal will be to bring back business lost to foreign countries. Yuck. And also to sort of be his ears and eyes on the inside in Hollywood. So, thoughts, everyone? Thoughts? What do you think?
The only people missing from that list are David Hasselhoff and Steven Seagal. I was like, are these guys even relevant anymore?
Someone wrote in the comments very quickly, their combined age of 233 years will no doubt appeal to the youth of America.
You don't think it has anything to do with their age. I think these are the last 3 old farts in Hollywood who still would align themselves with Donald Trump, and they have nothing to lose. The peak of their career is behind them. They've always been in lockstep with him, and you know that Donald Trump likes one thing, and that is loyalty, and that's why he's giving it to them. So who else?
I think a lot of people do support Donald Trump, but they know better to keep. Yeah.
But remember November in that election, how many people in Hollywood stepped up to show their support for Kamala Harris? Think about all of those names. Who's left to take one of these jobs?
I just think that if their job, I mean, there's 2 things happening, because Trump is saying 2 things, by the way. These guys are going to be ambassadors and bring business back to Hollywood. So I guess these guys are going to go out and visit countries in the world. Imagine these 3 amigos walking in. We want your business to come here. You know, we tell you. I don't know why I'm talking like this. But the other thing that Trump said that was more ominous to me was that they will be my eyes and ears. Yeah. And then I said, what the heck does that mean? And I think these guys just solidified getting blacklisted from Hollywood if they were getting any roles at all.
They're already on that list.
And they were, I mean, Mel Gibson has had his whole list. All these guys have had their problems. But I just think that Trump fundamentally doesn't understand Hollywood. Hollywood, by definition, is creating art and film and television. And in a functioning democracy, the role of art is to question authority. And in countries, when you look at Russia or China, North Korea, you know, the one thing that doesn't come to mind is all the art that's coming out of those countries. Art, by definition, questions authority.
That's right.
So I don't know what Trump's trying to achieve here, but it's not going to work.
I don't know if I agree that art questions authority. I think that art has become, anyway, this is a whole nother topic, but there was a headline or a cover story in Harper's last month that said politics has actually killed art. So that's another conversation. Let's put a pin in that. But I think this kind of thing, governments working with Hollywood, has happened a number of times before. If we think about World War II, McCarthyism, and what was the code called? It was called Hays Code.
Yeah.
And in fact, it actually produced better art.
Well, like the Hays
because
Code
the directors had to get so clever. They had to subvert. They had to do more showing rather than telling. And we had some of the best movies like Casablanca, Notorious. Hitchcock was like a minefield of ideas to get around. So maybe this is a good thing.
I understand.
Like, you think
there might be restrictions as a result of this sort
I'm
of
being slightly cheeky, but I actually do agree with Trump and do think that Hollywood needs a rehaul. It needs a refresh.
Okay, it might need a rehaul, but are these the 3 amigos that you want to do that job?
Definitely no, because a great director died yesterday, David Lynch. And David Lynch could not work if a young David Lynch were starting out now in Hollywood. Not a chance, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Not a chance he would make it. So I do think Hollywood needs to be fixed. Are these 3 the type to do it? Rambo Part 10?
What do you think, Sam? What do you think,
the last 3. Who else is going to align themselves with Donald Trump at this point in Hollywood? It's these 3 or not?
I can't believe they said yes to the job. But anyway.
I was surprised about Sylvester Stallone. I don't know why. I didn't know that he's been a card-carrying Republican for a long period of time, although he has donated money to both Democrats and Republicans. When you think about it, his movies are interesting. Like, he wrote and directed Rocky. Everyone, I feel like, in the world has seen Rocky. Everyone loves Rocky, right? Yeah. But when you think about the meaning between Rocky is, at its heart, it's a sports movie, but it's also about personal identity, it's about perseverance, and it's about the pursuit of the American dream. That is all like...
It's also anti-communist.
It's also a lot of
I know, there's that too. But there is also a lot of just like, for Trump, like this is like probably a childhood hero. He probably is like, wants to rub elbows with some of these guys. And you know what, like Stallone, I'll just show you, like he recently spoke at Mar-a-Lago, this is in December, where he compared a scene in Rocky to Trump. Just take a look.
So the image pans down from Jesus onto Rocky being hit. And at that moment, he was a chosen person, and that's how I began the journey. Something was going to happen. This man was going to go through a metamorphosis and change lives, just like President Trump.
Oh, my God.
You got that, right? He's talking about a scene.
We needed closed captioning for that.
Okay, but he's talking about a scene in Rocky where he was looking at Jesus, basically, and then he took a punch and there was a metamorphosis scene, and that's basically exactly like Trump. So he has drunk the juice. And to me, what scares me the most about this is the possibility for the creation of like propaganda. Like that's what other diabolical regimes have done, is created the film industry becomes propaganda. So just keep your eyes open.
North Korea.
Anywho, speaking of Hollywood, The Guardian looked into whether dogs actually watch TV. Okay? Question everyone's wondering about. And according to science, they do like watching other dogs on the screen, but are largely uninterested in watching humans. So have you ever caught your pets watching TV?
How many dog lovers in the audience? Raise your hands, right? Okay, good, my people. All right, so I had a dog. Her name was Sasha. She was a Yorkie Post. She lasted almost 17 years, 16 and a half years. And I would turn the TV on for her all the time. If I was leaving the house, I would always feel so guilty if I couldn't take her. And the idea of leaving her in an empty, quiet house just seemed wrong. So I'd put it on some kind of children's program, because there's always some kind of bells and whistles. And I'd set up her bed with some treats, and I'd be like, I'll be right back. And I felt like at least I was
Did she pay attention?
I don't know, but I feel like I had to.
As you know, I have an adopted cat. He's 11 years old, Thomas, and he doesn't care what we watch on TV. But music is another thing. He doesn't seem to react too much. Like, Simon plays all different types of music. He plays classical, jazz, hip hop. But one time, Simon put on some Moroccan music. And Thomas, we'd never seen it before. He stood on his hind legs and started moving. The cat stood up to the Moroccan music. And for us, it had raised all of these questions, because we don't know who his parents were before us for 11 years. Did they listen to this kind of music?
You don't know who Tomas was in a past life.
We didn't know who Tomas was. Tomas telling us.
Can you give me that? What did he do again? Can you show me that again?
So imagine a cat.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I need to see this on Instagram. I need this on Instagram.
We played the music again, and has he done it? No, because he's difficult. He's a gifted, difficult child.
Well, Jess, I'm sorry. I really need to see this. I love that so much.
Welcome back, everybody. Can you believe that it's 2025 and I've never made a cheesecake on caftans in the kitchen? Well, last night, I did something about it with a little help from a 63-year-old recipe. Take a look.
Cher's mom's cheesecake. This is like a recipe that her family shared online. Do you remember when I guessed the amount of graham cracker? I'm gonna say that I guessed incorrectly and that we should have added more. If I could turn back time, if I could... Oh, wait, that is good.
Well, Cher loved this cheesecake so much that she'd go back for a second piece after dinner in the middle of the night. But will the host feel the same? There's no time like the present to find out. Ladies, dig in.
Ooh, Okay, so before we get started, I think some people may know Bob Mackie, who is Cher's, is Cher's costume designer, did some of her most famous pieces, was supposed to be on the show today. So I'm guessing that was part of the reason, the inspiration?
Yeah, Cynthia, that was definitely part of the reason, but Bob couldn't be here. But I feel like Cher is timeless.
You know
Cher
what?
is evergreen.
This is Bob's loss, because this is delicious.
Wow. This is insanely amazing.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
It's not shaped like a cake. I mean, I'm not questioning.
Okay, Cynthia's stuck up on something. Is a cheesecake done in a springform pan? Or is it done like this?
I don't know.
And springform, interesting. Well, I guess you'll have to tell that to Cher's mother, R.I.P. Because she called for this kind of thing.
I love it. It is so good.
This is
so
amazing.
It's the first time that I have actually followed a recipe to the T.
It smells incredible. It tastes incredible. The texture's good. I love a good crust. It's so good. Sorry.
Okay, so guys, when I went down this rabbit hole and Googled Cher Plus recipes and this cheesecake came up, it also took me back to all of the incredible film directors that she's worked with. And I want to see if you guys can remember them all in a little thing we like to call the Cher quiz. Okay, you ready? Both Cher and Meryl Streep received Oscar nominations for this 1983 film.
Moonstruck.
Directed by legendary Mike Nichols.
What is it, guys?
Yes!
Moonstruck.
Sorry, Silkwood. Silkwood. Nice work.
Never heard of
nice
it.
work.
Never heard of it.
Great movie.
Look at the mullet on Meryl.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay, Peter Bogdanovich directed Cher to win Best Actress at this Cannes Film Festival in the. Yes!
Mask.
Yes, co-starring Eric Stoltz, Laura Dern, and Sam Elliott. God, I love that movie as a kid. Okay, this one you're gonna know. Legendary Canadian film director.
Moonstruck!
Exactly, Norman Jewison.
The last one.
And this is where Cher won her only Oscar to date. This one, if anyone gets this in the audience, you get to take this cheesecake home.
Okay.
Or if anyone gets it,
we won't say it. We won't say it.
Okay. Legendary director Robert Altman worked with Cher 3 times, but this 1982 film with an 11-word-long title was the first, not to mention the first major dramatic role that Cher ever had.
Oh.
Steel Magnolias?
Robert Altman.
I don't know.
Anyone?
Oh, this is obscure.
Somebody guess, because this cheesecake is good.
It's called Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean. Anyone?
You never heard of it. No.
I guess I'm taking the cheesecake home tonight.
It's all yours. That was a hard one.
Wow. Jess Allen, you have outdone yourself. This is
Really
phenomenal. It is.
Cher!
It's Cher's mom.
Cher's mom, not me. Wow.
Thank you, Cher's mom. And thank you, Jess. Truly, truly. The first Caftans of 2025. We are looking forward to a beautiful year ahead. And remember, every other Thursday, it happens on the show's Instagram page, at The Social CTV. It is so much fun, Jess. This one was no different. Wow.
Subscribe to The Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.